I'm so excited. It's show and tell day here at Old Tavern Farm. I'm Lee Sharon, and I want to welcome you again to the sitting room here at the homestead. I, last night, stumbled upon an area in the Market Pigs paddock that they had been digging in, and it has warmed up and there's mud. And so they've been able to dig down through some of the soil that's out there. And in that area out there, we have about 3 areas here on the farm that appeared to have been sort of little dump areas. And we think 2 of them out there were the privies or the outhouse, the latrine. And it's always been customary, I think probably throughout time, for people to have thrown their trash down their toilets. And of course that stuff all fills up, and then they move the privy to another area. And this property was built in 1806. So, but it's been here for a long time. And so those privies were full of all kinds of stuff. I want to share with you what I have found, the artifacts that I have found on this property. And I have picked out a few that are special to me, and I want to show you why they're special to me, and what perhaps could make them historically significant. Most of my artifacts are in shards and pieces. I don't think I have anything that's really in one piece except this glass bottle that I found last night. It's hard to believe that anything like this can stay under the ground for that long and not break. I mean, it's broken. It's broken on the rim here, but that's pretty good. But the thing is, all these pieces tell a story. I have everything in piles here, as you saw in the opening shots. And I have an area of salt glazeware. So this is very primitive salt glaze pottery that would have been used to store like pickles and different types of food and anything. Really, they were just storage containers. Like a lot of them you can see have the bottom, so that this is one I found last night. It was all storageware. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start there, because that actually in time, that's the earliest stuff that I have here. All right, so that was the salt glazeware. That's the earliest pieces I have. And my favorite piece that I found this past spring is this piece right here. And you can kind of see in this area right here some of the different type of glaze that was. And so this is probably a jug. There's the handle right there. And I have another piece that's got some of the blue dye on it. I think they call them bee sting crocks or something like that. I'm not an expert. I'm a passionate amateur. So that's my favorite piece of the salt glaze pottery. My next category is glassware. So we've got all kinds of glassware. This is a little stopper I found one year, glass, probably some sort of, I think this is not really a liquor decanter. I think this is more of like an apothecary jar of some kind, or vinegar cruet. My favorite piece of glassware is this. I know this looks like a lump of coal, but if you look, you can see right there's the bottom part of the glassware, and you can see it has a curve to it. So this, and if I hold it up to the light, you can kind of see how it has a green tinge to it. This, I suspect, is a colonial onion bottle. Now, onion bottles were used to hold wine and rum and mostly alcohol. And I'll show you a picture of a one that's intact. But this is significant because this building did start as a tavern. So, I mean, this could have been held by somebody 200 plus years ago, enjoying their rum or their wine just feet away from us. So that's my favorite piece of glassware. Okay, moving on from salt glaze pottery and glass to, I have a pile here of what I call white chinaware. So this is a piece I found last night. I believe this is like a tureen, a soup tureen, or some sort of vegetable dish or something. And I have a whole pile of that type of thing. Just all kinds of sort of general serviceware. All right, I don't have anything really special in that. Actually, I do. Actually, I do. This is one piece that I just find to be so charming because you can see the pattern in it. I'm pretty sure that's kind of classic 1920s, 30s. I think this was probably a little soup bowl or some sort of little, you know, kitchen serviceware type of dish. Does not have a back stamp on it. But I just think that that embossed raised pattern is so charming. And then the other one I have that I find to be special is, and I actually found this little teapot spout last night. And if you look closely, I love stuff like this. You can see the little gentle embossing on the neck of the spout right there. It's so delicate. And then this morning when I was getting ready for this video, I found this piece, and this fits right here. And that is the bottom of the little teapot. Let me see if I can turn it around for you guys. So that would have been the little teapot. And I thoroughly believe that this was a child's tea set, which tells me that there were children living here at some point. So it tells more of the story of who lived here, what they did they have kids? It's just, I'm a storyteller. I've written 2 books. I'll put links to them in the description box. And my imagination goes wild. So anyway, so that's the whiteware that I wanted to show you. And then my next pile is piles of china that have patterns on them. So this is a sort of brown transferware plate all the way down to hand-painted flow blueware. And my special pieces are right here of the patterned china. These pieces, oops, something slid over there. These pieces are hand painted these are hand painted colonial dishes. They're very thin, and again, they're painted by hand. And it's a little bit primitive, but there's 4 pieces of that here, and it comes from the same plate. So that's my special. Those are my favorite because those are old. And then last night was, as far as patterning goes, this was a dish that I pulled out of the pit last night. It is called Melrose Cliff. If anybody, this is just transferware. So this is probably, late 19th century. If anybody knows anything about these artifacts, please do not hesitate to reach out and let me know. And then I have a pile of dishes that have back stamps, and back stamps are the identifying trademark of the item. Last night I found one that is Wedgwood. We all know Wedgwood. Royal Ironstone. Last night I found that one too. And so I have a pile of that type of stuff too. So as far as the plates that have patterns, I have everything from the Flow Blue, the early Flow Blue, all the way up to sort of a modern little sort of ironstone or ironware rough pottery and stuff that came from, I call this warware. It's sort of between the wars. It's got some gold foil type of decoration, which is not my thing at all. Ugh, I hate that stuff. But again, it tells part of the story. Somebody really liked it. Somebody really liked it. There's several pieces of this type of warware that is lots of gold, and this could have even gone up to the 40s and 50s, but maybe even 60s. Mid-century stuff is not my thing, so I'm sure you guys know that. All right, so then the last pile I have for you guys is the first thing I found, my favorite thing, and something I think might be of actual historic value, American history-wise, and a couple little oddities that I've pulled out of the ground. All right, so I'm going to talk about the first thing I found, which is this little chinoiserie style. It's like a lotus flower, and you can see it's decorated with blue and white design. So that's the very first thing I found when we first started digging our garden. I think that's late 18th century, early 19th century. And then last year, I found a little clay pipe. You can see there's the part that the pipe, it's like the long stemmed pipe that comes out like this. And then if you look inside there, you can see the burn marks where the gentleman would have smoked their pipe, and then they would have just tossed it and gotten a new one. They came in boxes. And then the piece I think that is kind of historically significant, at least in America, is a teapot spout that we found in a third location that's actually just right behind the garage here, not out in that garden area. A teapot spout that I have identified as being a Whately teapot. So a Whately teapot, they came from Whately, Massachusetts, and it's redware. The clay, let me show it. The clay is red. And do you see the fluted, the sort of faceted, the facets on the spout? So it would have sat on the teapot like this and tipped over to pour your tea. And there's where it made contact with the body of the teapot. These facets and the iridescent glaze are significant to Whately style teapots. The reason that this might be significant is that if this is a Whately teapot spout, this would be as far west as these came. Currently, from what I've done, research I've done, it has the Catskill Mountains being as far west as Whately teapots were distributed. So I'm sure the rest of the teapot is in the hole. We were just digging to make a flower bed and my husband pulled this out. Okay, so that's my significant find. And now for my favorite piece. This is the second thing I found out in the vegetable garden. And it was just sitting on the ground like it wanted me to find it. And that is this sweet little marble. This is called a Bennington marble. Bennington marbles are clay. They're like porcelain. And the reason I find this so delightful is that this was a tavern, as I said, along with the onion bottle that had the wine or the rum. they were playing games here. So that is part of some of the stuff that got tossed out after this house moved from being a tavern to being a farmhouse. So that's what I love about history, about these artifacts. This stuff started life in this house, in this room maybe. And then it got put out into the privy pit, and now it's back. So all the stuff has had quite the journey. So I want to thank you so much for visiting and hanging out on this gray, wet, cold, windy day here in my sitting room. Until next time. Bye-bye.